Why is Evil Dead the game struggling? Before we get started and talk about this, a couple things I want to say real quick is, first of all, thank you for the 3,000 subscribers. I really appreciate that. And second of all, I apologize for my voice. If it's a little hoarse, I had to do some yelling over the weekend. I made my debut in professional wrestling. It's wild stuff. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about why this game is struggling. Now, we don't actually know what's going on with the game's player base. The only two things we really know right now are, number one, the game is struggling big time on Twitch. Now, Twitch is not necessarily the perfect indicator of how a game is doing player base wise, but it is a decent snapshot most of the time. There are exceptions, but most of the time it gives you a good idea of the game's health. And the second thing is that West Coast players are having a really hard time finding games as Survivor. Now, we don't know why that's the case. I've seen screenshots from people on Reddit where they're talking to Saber Support, and Saber Support claims it's some sort of glitch in the system that's causing you to not be able to find games. We don't know if that's the case or if there's not enough demon players. What we do know is that the most recent balance patch came out, and it was 99% nerfs to survivors and 99% buffs to demons. Now, I would think that most people would say that the game wasn't like wildly in favor of demons. So why would they have such a drastic balance change patch that almost universally nerf survivors and buff demons if it's really not that unbalanced? Well, one of the possible explanations is that there isn't much of a player base for demon right now, that there's a lot less demon players. I mean, you can see for yourself, even if you're not on West Coast, there's at least a little bit of a wait time for survivors, but if you queue up for demon, it's pretty much instant no matter where you are. So why aren't there enough demon players? Well, there's a lot of reasons why that might be. I had a really interesting discussion with a friend of mine who was they came over from Dead by Daylight. They like to play a lot of killer on Dead by Daylight, and they quit this game really quickly. And I asked them why, and I was like, why? You know, because I can't really get the opinion of really anyone who's going to watch this video, because all of you, if you're watching this video, I assume it's because you still like Evil Dead and you still like playing the game. So it's better to get an explanation from somebody who doesn't like the game, who quit the game because they didn't enjoy it. So I wanted to get their perspective. I was like, hey, why did you quit? What about the game did you not like compared to Dead by Daylight? And the main thing they told me is that they just didn't find the demon gameplay loop fun. They didn't think that playing demon was very fun. There's a number of reasons why they thought that. They thought that, you know, having to walk around, run around is like a spirit and spawn things and then occasionally possess things was not fun, as opposed to being in killer mode all the time like you are in Dead by Daylight. So that's part of it. But I also was thinking about a deeper issue. And before I get into that, I should mention, I just saw a great video from Stocky Boy. If you haven't seen their channels, you should check them out. But they were talking about, is this game survivor-sided or demon-sided? And I don't think that there's any like straight answer to that. The answer is it depends on what's going on. If it's a full 4 stack of survivors, it is absolutely survivor-sided. But that's also true in every asymmetrical game that's ever been made. Every asymmetrical game that's ever been made, the group role, if they are fully coordinated, it always has the advantage over the individual role. That has been the case in every asymmetrical game I have ever played. But if you're talking about, say, solo queue, then I think demon has a significant advantage. So it's kind of like, what do we assess here when it comes to balance? Because it's so different playing solo queue versus playing in a group. And what part represents the majority of the player base? I assume, just like Dead by Daylight, that the vast majority of players who play this game on Survivor side are solo queue. So how do you really approach balance, and how do you judge which side is stronger than the other? I don't really have a clear-cut answer to that, but I can tell you this. I truly believe that in Evil Dead's case, at least with solo queue, that demons have the biggest advantage over survivors than any other asymmetrical game I've ever played in solo queue. And what I mean by that is, like, if you take Dead by Daylight, for example, and you say, okay, well, Dead by Daylight in solo queue, killers have like a 55% chance of winning, and survivors have a 45% chance. Well, in Evil Dead in solo queue, I think that number is more like demons have a 65% chance of winning. And in that regard, demons have a much larger advantage in solo queue. Now, having said that, the thing that I think is most interesting about this, and why there's possibly not enough demon players, throw away the fact that some people just don't like this game. Like, the Evil Dead can't control that. If you just don't like the way the game plays, we don't even really need to discuss it. You just don't like the game, just move on, play something else. But regardless of how the balance in this game is currently, I think one of the big problems with the demon side is that it feels really, really bad to lose. It feels really, really bad to lose badly too. So let's take Dead by Daylight, for example. Let's say you're playing killer and you get into a lobby with a full sweaty 4-stack and they just dominate you. They just completely beat the brakes off you and you just get destroyed in this match. The nice thing about Dead by Daylight is that means that the match is going to end a lot quicker. It means that they're going to just fly through gens super fast. They're going to escape super fast, and the match is going to be over in like 5 to 10 minutes. The problem with Evil Dead is that the better the survivors are playing, the longer the match will last, which is the opposite of Dead by Daylight. So to give you a scenario here, if the survivors are super good and super well coordinated, it basically means that a lot of the time you're not even going to get to participate in the game, because the second you spawn anything, the second you like possess anything, it's just going to get taken out by a really coordinated group, like just instantly. So to basically not even be able to participate in the game because everything you're spawning, everything you're possessing just gets taken out instantly, and you have to sit in the match now for like 30 minutes just getting beat down, that feels really, really bad. And I think that that's something that can turn off a lot of demon players. That's going to cause them to be like, have that one super frustrating game and then be like, all right, I'm done playing demon. So I think that's really one of the biggest issues that's kind of plaguing this game on the demon side right now. And so I don't really know what Evil Dead could do about this. Because they can't really like change the fundamentals of how you play demon to like make it suck less to get beat down. So in conclusion, I think that the game is really struggling right now because there is a portion of the player base that just doesn't find the gameplay loop very fun. I think there's a portion of the player base who gets really annoyed at how much it sucks to struggle, how bad it feels to get dominated and to lose in a game like this. I think like a portion of the viewer base, at least on Twitch, for whatever reason, just doesn't follow to other games. They don't really watch anything but Dead by Daylight. There could be a number of reasons for that, but I think that's a big reason for why Twitch is struggling. And the last thing that I think is really important too is the lack of like communication from Saber. And it's not even necessarily the lack of updates, by the way, because we're getting an update here in a couple of days with the Castle Kandar content, and that actually comes fairly quickly. If you compare that to other games like Dead by Daylight usually pumps out new content once every 3 months, and we're getting new content like what, after 2 months of the game being out. So it's fairly quick, this new content, which is a nice thing. But I think the lack of communication really hurts. Like, we don't really know what direction the game is going at this point. We don't know like what the plans are. Like, all we have is, oh, Castle Kandar update's coming out, and at some point we're gonna have a really big balance patch in the summer, and it's gonna have a bunch of bug fixes as well. We don't really know anything about like, well, what's coming after that. We don't even know if Castle Kandar is gonna have anything else in it. Like, we don't know if Castle Kandar is going to ship with a survivor, a new weapon. We don't know if it's going to come with a new demon. Right now, it seems like it's just going to be the new map. So it'd be nice to have a little more communication, because it's been called the Castle Kandar update, which would seem to imply that it's more than just the map. It's an update that has a bunch of stuff in it. So I don't know. Can I say something? Can I be candid? It's frustrating for me because I really, really like this game. I think this is the most fun I've had playing an asymmetrical game since like Evolve. I'm having way more fun on this game than I've had on Dead by Daylight over the years. So it'll be really disappointing if this game doesn't survive, because I think the asymmetrical genre as a whole needs more competition, because it's such a cool genre to begin with. And also I think that if you create competition, it's going to cause all the games to compete and be better. But hey, this is just one crazy guy's rant about why this game is struggling. But you guys let me know what you think and why this game is struggling right now. Or maybe you don't think the game is struggling. If you disagree, let me know. But if you do agree with me, please let me know in the comments what you think about why this game might be struggling right now. And I hope you enjoy the content. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.